Hi, I'm Jennifer Hain, the founder and owner of Jennifer Lee Life Coaching, where I serve as a motivational coach to help people achieve their specific goals. And occasionally we bring you a breath of fresh air. Today I have Brandon Schell, a Pittsburgh-based comedian, here with me. And we are sitting in Ham Bones, which is an event venue located in Lawrenceville, PA, and they have some awesome weekly happenings. Make sure you check them out, Ham Bones in Lawrenceville. Brandon's actually done several open mics here, so we were excited that they could have us today. Brandon, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Jen. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So Brandon today, he's going to share a little bit about his journey as to how he got started in comedy, and also give you some encouraging tips and tools as to how you can pursue a unique passion that you have in an area like Pittsburgh, PA, where maybe it's not so common. So Brandon, why don't you first start by explaining a little bit about how you got started in comedy and knew that that was something you wanted to pursue?
Well, as I was growing up, I found my favorite modes of entertainment were watching stupid, funny movies, and it led to watching a lot of stand-up comics, and I think that's where it first started. Hey, I make people laugh sometimes. I think that'd be something I'd like to do, but you never really think of it as a possibility. And then I started hearing that they have open mics all over the place, all in the city, different times of the day, a lot of times during the week. And I was like, I'm going to try this out, and I went to a place called Pleasure Bar that's over in Bloomfield, and they had an open mic there. Went up to the guy running it and signed up, and I guess the rest is kind of just history from there.
How long have you been doing stand-up? So how long ago was that?
This November 18th was 1 year since I first started going on stage.
And since then, how many shows do you think you've done?
At this point, I think I've lost count. Now you just get to the point where it just becomes a second nature to go up there and just try to make people laugh. You forget how many times you're actually going up there and doing it individually. It's more or less like, when's the next show?
See, he took one step, and now he can't even count how many shows he's done within the last year. Now, when you took that first step, you decided to go sign up for an open mic. What would you say was the scariest moment that you had to overcome?
Just going up initially, just making sure that you were going to stick around long enough to hear your name called and actually getting up there. Yeah, the first time you go up there, you try to act all cool, but you're not. You're terrified.
Did you ever get any boos or, people kicking you off the stage?
No, luckily enough, I've not gotten booed off stage. I've gotten just nothing. I've gotten people just looking at every comedian will tell you that they have gotten nothing, and it's rough because you don't just leave, you don't just bail. You keep going until your set's over. Usually you get a little light in the back of the room. That lets you know you're about to be done. That's what you wait for, and you work yourself through it. If you get nothing, get up and try again next time.
Do you plan a lot of your jokes ahead of time, or are you somebody who kind of just does it on a whim and starts with your first joke and then lets it go?
No, I definitely have stuff that I've written down and tried to memorize to the best of my ability. I mean, there's definitely times where you go off the cuff, as they say, and try to do stuff that's not normally part of your routine, but for the most part, you go up there with the 15 to 20 minutes that you got, and hopefully that gets a laugh.
Does 15 to 20 minutes go slow for you, or does it fly by?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. If you're having a bad set, you can feel like you're up there for a year and a half. But if you're going up there and everybody's feeling everything you say and the crowd's rolling with it, it feels up there for 30 seconds.
Now, you, when I was asking you about yourself and you gave me your bio, you said you're a comic. Is it called a comedian or a comic?
I guess you can call it either. I mean, I'm sure there's some purist or something like, actually, this is what it is, but it doesn't matter. I mean, you're a guy who gets up there and you tell jokes, and you're just trying to make people laugh. Whatever it's called, I'm fine with. You can call me it. If it's a jerk, that's fine.
So as a comic, what would you say is the best way that you've realized you can get yourself out there, aside from just going and signing up for things? Do you do any outside promotion for yourself?
I mean, at the end of the day, your best promoter is going to be yourself. And I try to, now I have myself a page on Facebook that has people able to easily to find me, to like me as a fan, rather than my personal page where I also post things that have nothing to do with my comedy. But the best way is to get out there and keep doing the mics. But obviously, if I have any shows coming up, I'll try to let people know, try to get the word out there, get some people to come. But I do some shows that are kind of out there in the sticks a little bit, so I can understand when people don't come.
Now, being a comedian in Pittsburgh, it's not Vegas. You don't have event venues everywhere where you can go and do stand-up. So how do you book yourself events here, and then how are you also growing?
Well, you try to just kind of just wait for your shot. You wait for guys to go, hey, you're funny. I'm doing something next week. Would you like to get on it? But there's also guys, I mean, I've never done it personally, but I know guys, and I'm friends with guys who just go to any bar, go to a restaurant, see if they have live entertainment there, and you try to see if you can get a show. Now, it's not going to be a night at the Improv, and you're not going to get your Comedy Central half-hour presents special from doing a show at Jack Smith's bar in Southside. Like, it's not going to happen, but as long as you're just out there doing it, you're going to get your shots eventually. But, I mean, you can definitely go out there, book shows, ask people, but it's more or less kind of waiting around, waiting for your name to be called.
What kind of pressure is on you when you're out and you realize that you may have missed a chance to promote yourself with someone verbally? Or
Yeah, you just kind of just move on from it. I mean, you have to have a short memory when you're doing this, no matter what, even if it's just a bad joke or you missed out on maybe making a connection. Hopefully it comes back around. I kind of like I'm one of those people, don't try to dwell on stuff that could have been. You kind of just have to keep pushing forward in that sense. But, I mean, there's definitely times you're like, should have talked to that guy more, should have asked him a question or something like that. But we're all human. You're always going to have little brain farts every now and then. But there's always going to be, I always believe there's going to be something coming up, no matter what it is.
for all of the viewers out there who think they're really funny and maybe thinking of starting, their own comedy career, what is some tips you have for someone who wants to write jokes? Or how do you even go home and begin that exercise?
It's just different for everyone. I mean, there's no set guideline or playbook to go in and being funny. You're either funny or you're not. I mean, sure, you can take all the classes in the world, but at the end of the day, you have to be funny. You have to go up there and, first off, that's what you have to do. Go up. If you think you're funny, some people, I know myself, it took me a good year and a half, 2 years for me to finally go, okay, I think I can try this. I'd never been to an open mic at all. The first time I went, I did it right away. So just go, don't think about it, and just get up and do it. But there are classes all over the city. There's classes at the Arcade Comedy Theater downtown where you can do stand-up, you can do improv. And then the best thing to do is also just listen to guys who have been doing it for a long time, because I know me, I'm no expert. I'm happy you're interviewing me, but there's a guys that just know so much more about it, and listen to the guys that have been doing it for a long time. Yeah. They'll guide you.
Who's your favorite comedian?
My personal favorite comedian right now is Bill Burr. Bill Burr is a comedian that's based out of Boston, and he now lives in Los Angeles. And he's one of those angry Boston type of guys. He's just very filthy, very vulgar, but also very, very intelligent in what he does. So you're able to relate to it, even though it might be a little bit harsh on the ears sometimes.
Yeah. Now, being that you're on your journey now, it's been over a year, how do you find yourself learning and adapting and then moving forward with everything that you've learned over the last year?
It's basically just trial and error. You try to see if things work. You try to go outside your comfort zone, and things aren't always going to work. So I just try to take the punches and getting hits and trying to go and learn from each individual failure and try to learn how to get better from that. But even when I do things that I think went over well, it's like, that went well, how can I make it better? As a comedian, I feel like that you should always be trying to make things better. You're always trying to make your jokes funnier. Even if you're comfortable, that's when you start plateauing. That's when you just start getting in that comfort zone, like, I'm doing well, and that's what it is now. I'm starting to get a lot of decent offers for shows, and I'm getting to work with guys I really like, but it's like, oh man, this isn't what I worked for. I'm not done yet. I have to keep going. So you basically just got to keep just trying to get better.
For the viewers out there too, I mean, in all of my interviews, you'll hear me say it time and time again that patience and persistence are two key things in achieving your goals. Brandon shared with me that he would sit here, and even in Hambuns, and wait hours to go up on stage for his open mic night, and then he gets his chance, whether it's 5 or 20 minutes. You're sitting there hours waiting for your opportunity. So I think that's really admirable. I look up to anybody who invests time like that. What are some tips you have for others who are looking to make something happen overnight?
You don't. If you're expecting to happen overnight, you just gotta just flush that idea down the toilet. It's never going to happen overnight. And if it does, those are just those lottery ticket moments. And you're gonna play the lottery every day hoping to hit. That's fine. But just know that when your luck doesn't come to you, know that you didn't go out there and do something. I know I have a long road ahead of me too. So I'm just trying to enjoy it, and that's the best thing I can tell you is enjoy the little victories you're going to get along the way. Mm-hmm. Like, I have some things coming up that I'm very excited about, and those things are like, okay, when I do that, I have to be excited for the very next thing. Just be happy, live in that moment, and make sure that you enjoy every single little thing that happens as it happens to you.
What is the largest crowd that you've ever done stand-up for or open mic?
I had done a show a few months ago. The Rivertown Brewery was nice to host a string of shows for us, which ended in us doing a show at their tasting room in Export, PA. And we didn't know what to expect. We were actually supposed to be doing it for free, and we didn't know how many people were going to come. A few of my buddies were running late to the show. We're like, give the host a call, see how the show's going. Calls us back and says there's over 100 people there waiting to hear us tell some jokes. So we got there, and everybody had excellent sets. It was tons of fun. Everybody walked away with a nice sum of money, but it was around 120 people. It was very awesome in comparison to waiting around to perform in front of 5 people. Yeah.
Talk about a huge boost. Is 5 people the smallest, or what's the smallest crowd you've interacted with?
Yeah, I mean, and it's hard to even gauge because most of the time you're at open mics, you're waiting around with other comedians to perform, and usually there's guys after you. So I've done times where I performed in front of a room of 4 people, and they were all comics. And they were all comics who've heard my jokes before. They've heard everything I have to say. So I'm going up there and acting as if this room is full, but it's not. There's 4 guys waiting to go up after me that have heard every single thing I have to talk about. So you just get that nothing.
So Brandon, a lot of times people will not attend a comedy show because it's very vulgar, there's racist jokes, cursing. What is your standpoint on clean comedy? Do you think it's as funny?
I think that at the end of the day, funny's funny. I don't care if a guy has to use every swear word in the book to get there, or they are just PG the entire way out. There's guys that have made a living, guy like Jerry Seinfeld, who could be considered the best of all time. He's been there the longest. He's been doing it so well for so long. And the guy maybe have said 3 swear words in his entire career. And then there's guys like Chris Rock who have made a living out of making racial language busting little material, but it's at the same time, I think it's funny as funny. And if you're coming to a comedy show and expecting to not be offended, you probably shouldn't come. That's just my take on it. You're going to hear some stuff you might not agree with, but just know that most of the guys up there, they're not really feeling that way. They're doing their best to take an uncomfortable thing and make it relatable because they're also uncomfortable with talking about it. The difference is they have the ability to go up there and maybe make some off-cuff jokes about it to maybe make it easy to talk about later on.
Now, on your journey, how do you feel that you've grown as a person? And that might be a deeper question, but just choosing to go out there and chase your dream and going through what you've gone through, overcoming those embarrassing moments. You know, what do you feel, how do you feel you've been strengthened?
Well, it's definitely allowed me to enjoy things a little bit more, just kind of not take the things for granted that I've gotten so far. I've become more personable. I'm able to approach people, maybe talking with more of a mature tone of voice, because you have to be able to talk shop with people. But I think the biggest thing is now is I kind of just, even if it's just smaller things in life, I'm kind of just going for it now instead of worrying about it, because that's what's going to kill you in the end. If you just worry about it and then you just end up not doing it, then you're going to be wondering what if. I just want to kind of like make it all right, and instead of what if, like what can I do better?
Now, for your social media, you mentioned you're on Facebook. What are some other ways that people can follow what you do?
Well, yes, I have my personal Facebook page, but I can't promise we can be friends just yet. You have to kind of warm me up before you do that. Maybe take me out for a drink. But I have my Facebook page is facebook.com/Brandon Schell Comedy. You can also find me on Twitter at BMassiveSchell, SCHELL. And then you can also find me on YouTube. You can just search my name. I'm not really sure with the YouTube yet. I'm kind of trying to get better there, but as of right now, you can find me on all kinds of social media platforms. Just kind of give me a Google search. I'll be in like the 2nd or 3rd page.
For Facebook, do you have a list of your upcoming shows so people can kind of follow what you're doing that way too?
Yes, I do put all, usually these people are nice enough to make posters for each show, so you have a big picture of my big mug on there with usually the days coming up. You check out my Brandon Schell Comedy page, you'll have all the stuff that I'll be coming up and doing. Hopefully you'll come and visit.
Yeah, go visit them. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us today and bringing us a breath of fresh air. Is there any other encouraging words you have for the viewers out there who are looking to just get out there and chase their dreams?
Just do it. Don't think. Get in your head. You're going to just psych yourself out. There's something you got to do. Just do it, because I'd rather do it and fail than not do it at all. And I've failed continuously over and over again, and you're just going to get better from it. There's a television show that once said the first step to being sort of good at something is sucking at it for a long time. So just keep sucking, eventually you'll be all right.
It's true, though. Failure is the biggest stepping stone. It really is. And like Brandon said, you just got to get out there. There's never going to be a perfect time. So thanks for joining us and bringing us a breath of fresh air. Make sure you check out Brandon Schell. You can check him out on Facebook, Twitter. He's getting up on YouTube. He has 2 upcoming shows, so there's some opportunities there to check out some of his work. I'm Jennifer Hain, the founder and owner of Jennifer Lee Life Coaching, and you can check this all out at jenniferleelifecoaching.com.
Bye, Internet.
Bye.